Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel and to another video of price action trading. And before we get started, let's take a look at the daily chart. Alright, so at the daily chart we have this doji looking forming bar, which means undecidedness. Prices are not sure where to go, and this means trading range day for us. But nevertheless, we are forming a double bottom right here. So if the boss, I would recommend is for us to go more long than short. But let's take a look at the lower time frame, how our price is looking there. Alright, so today we started with quite an unusual pattern. Very strong rally up. Take a look. From this point on, this was the last leg by the bulls. This was the last bull rally, and at this point market was very overdone. I found the trend line working from these first few swings. As I always teach you, you can always find the trend line from the first few swings. You can see the market geometry is legit right here. Trend line got confirmed here. Even here we have a break and a massive retest to a new high. But take a look at how this market, this is a 90 degrees. This right here is a 90 degrees. And this rally, let's say this was like 80 degrees. So this is very, very strong and very, very sharp. And market don't usually stay away from EMA for such a long time. Notice how far away we are from EMA the whole time. And the healthy trend is more of like 45-degree angle. This is more healthy looking trend. This right here, this is almost 90 degrees up. This is very, very strong, and it is way overbought at this point. So once we made this top and this lower high, I drew this channel working lower, put it on the lows. I came around, I think I came around close to here at this bar. And the first trade that I took today was this second entry short. You can see that we made a new low right here. We're working higher. First attempt by the bears to go short, pullback, second attempt. This is two-legged pullback to the EMA. Let me show you. Market moves in twos, two-legged pullback. First leg right here, second leg right here, measured move. It is off the trend line, it is off the EMA. So this is multiple key entry points are, meeting at this point, and it is a second entry. So plus we were way overdone at this point. This was the last rally by the bulls. So it's time for a correction, definitely. So I think this was a good second entry short to sell this market. And the market made a new low. We have a failed second entry long at this point. The EMA is still holding. There is some resistance forming, but the bar is not ideal. So I really don't want you to be selling this market with this bar. This bar is way too bullish. And once you made this bar, you're already way too close to these lows. This is a big bar. Plus your stop has to go above this signal bar. So this is a big stop. It's not really worth it. This was the better entry of the key entry point. This was the higher probability setup. So you have to let it watch go without you. And at this point you made a new low as you are expecting, because this is the rule of the trend lines. After a break, there is most likely going to be a retest of a new extreme or a correction. And prices went into consolidation. Prices didn't really know where to go at this point. You made a break, new high here. But once again, you already made a new low here, so I think this downtrend has already played out. So I think you want to sit on the sidelines. And as you can see, the EMA is flat. It's in the middle of those bars. Market really don't know where to go. Even though you get a second entry short right here, it is in the middle of the trading range. And it is in, EMA is right in the middle of those bodies, straight flat. So I really think you don't want to take a chance if you really want to wait for failed breakouts. And once again, true to its form, price action rules worked. We have a failed breakout right here. It is a possibility to fade this breakout and to go long here, but I recommend to be waiting for that reversal pattern. You can see how prices spike through the EMA like it's not even there, pull back on the EMA and on the trend line. The trend line is holding, EMA is holding. Once again, key entry point. This is the proper setup. This is a much higher probability setup than this. You never know how long it's gonna chop around here before it takes off. This was a much higher probability setup. This is how you can improve your chances as a price action trader, waiting for these higher lows. It is off the trend line, it is off the EMA. This downtrend has played out already, and you have a failed break lower. So at this point, you really want to be thinking long. Once you have this failed break and this downtrend played out, now you're kind of fishing for longs. And you get a failed second entry short all the way up here, because this is the new low. Pullback, first entry. This was the first break below this bearish bar, and prices are going higher. No break lower, no break lower. Here's a break lower, and we broke above this bar. This is a failed second entry short. it is off the trend line, but you're quite away from the EMA. So it is a failed second entry short and it is off the trend line, so this is why I think it's a good setup. But it is quite far away from EMA, so this is not ideal. Nevertheless, it's according to our rules and we cannot cherry pick. We have to follow our rules to be successful. And then the market kind of chopped around. At this point, I drew my resistance right here and I was expecting we're making a new high to get to this key level, because market will go and will retest these key levels. And at this point, let me mark this. We have a trend line working lower right here. We have a break and we made a new low. Once again, perfect price action. And notice how we are forming a support right here. This is clearly to see prices are now uptrendish. We can definitely see the prices are rallying up. And on the daily chart, we just made a double bottom. So now at the end of the day, it is a big range day. But once we made the double bottom on the daily chart, I was really, thinking longs are more prevalent. So I think this was a good trade because we have a break and a new low and you are now holding on this support. But the safer place would be to wait for this pullback first entry, pullback second entry short that failed, and notice how EMA is still holding. This is why we use this indicator. We don't rely just solely on indicators, but this EMA is helping us in our trading because the EMA is holding nicely. No bar close below the EMA, and you're coming from this support, you have the break and a new low of this trend line in an uptrendish wipe. So and you're looking for prices to go long here because these key levels will get retested. So this is your failed second entry long, higher probability setup of the EMA, and it rallies off. And at this point, I actually went long right here, and I was still thinking we might get one more scalp, but luckily I would have gotten stopped out. Luckily I exited break even once this bar closed and I had room to exit. On this bar I exited break even exactly because at this point, I knew I was being way too sneaky and we just made this huge double top right here. So I almost acted like a beginner because the next trade I took was this bearish bar, because at this point this resistance is holding. You can see prices are not getting above this. There's no way, no, prices are not getting above this. And there is a lot of people, because I almost acted on it, a lot of people that missed all this move. Look at all this move up, and they want to go long all the way up here. They should have went long on the corrections the way you should, but they went long all the way up here. It's too late to go long, and I almost got tripped too. This is how powerful market is, and this is how it's easier for beginners to get tripped off, because they rely on common sense. This is so uptrendish that I thought I may sneak in, but luckily I exited and I kept my cool and I reversed right here. So I was kind of feeling like I'm picking a top, but at this point it is a lower high and the resistance is holding very nicely, and I thought a lot of people would be trying to go long here after all that move up. So I think this was a good move to go lower, to sell this market. And now things are starting to looking like a range day, because we are now bottoming out right here, and you can try to find the lows of this range where they are possibly going to be. So you can see there are some lows right here working, so you can drag it right here, and you can see how price action actually works perfect to the T. People saying the price action is a real probably don't know what they're talking about, because look at this, you're working lower, you have these touches from the lows, so this can help you to find the trend line. You can actually find it fairly easy from the top. You made a confirmation of the trend line right here, but it is only first entry, so I don't think you want to go short on the first entry. But once you make a first entry, pull back second entry short, beautiful bearish reversal bar, and you have a break and a new high, and you're waiting for a new low of this trend line. So I think this is according to our rules, good trade to go short. You have a breakout pullback sort of, but I don't think you want to go short into this support. And prices made, it's gonna be probably a measured lag, close to measure, make two legs to a new low. And where did we bounce? Exactly at the key level that I always tell you how important it is to find. You have a clear price action rules. You're working lower, break, 2 legs to a new low, 2-legged pullback, and we bounce exactly at this key level, at this support. You know, this is not rocket science, this is very predictable. You can be thinking about going long here, but once again, you know, actually this is not a bad setup. I'm gonna mark it. I didn't take this trade, but I like to wait for these higher lows. But this is very convincing because this is a 2-legged pullback. If it was 1 leg that you're taking, you know, chances, but 2-legged pullback, it is almost all the steam you get from the bear. So this was a good from this key level to go long. Prices pullback. We have a second entry long right here. Pullback first entry, pullback second entry. But this is a kind of a mess. Lot of stems, congestion, and this is a horrible signal bar. Too big. This signal bar is too bearish, so you have to let it go without you. Unfortunately, you have a new high. You have this trend line working higher. You can see how prices are fitting neatly. Break and a new high. At this point, I wasn't still thinking shorts, so I don't think you want to short this lower high because it is a range day at this point, and we might go to the highs. But once you draw this trend line, price is confirmed right here. And another confirmation happened right here. This now you cannot ignore this trend line. You have a break and a new low and a new high of this upper trend line, upper rally, bullish rally. Now you're working lower, and the trend line got confirmed here. I don't really like this signal bar, and this is just a first entry, so you really have, and this just set up the trend line. This trend line got confirmed right here. You know, and I always still draw these short-term trend lines. They will help you. You don't just have to find these big trend lines to get these gigantic moves. The shorter-term trend lines work just as well, and you want to use it. This was a good setup, and then you make a first entry pullback, second entry. Not ideal signal bar. I will only mark this if you had a better signal bar. But once again, you got multiple reasons. It is a second entry, and it is a break of this trend line, and where you're going, you're probably going to make a new low. So once again, it is according to our rules. You just have to follow the rules. You cannot cherry pick. You have to follow the rules. They are there for a reason. And prices made a big time new low. You have a nice 2-legged pullback. This is almost too perfect. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. This is almost too perfect. Take a look. It is actually a breakout pullback. This is almost too perfect. Anybody can. If you've been trading for a weekend, if you just stumbled across my channel and you've been, you know, wondering what this guy's talking about, you cannot ignore that this is a pullback first entry, pullback second entry. It is off the EMA, it is off the resistance now. It is a breakout pullback. Prices broke through the support. You know, most breakout fail, and they did. They tried to retest. It is second entry, and it is a break and a new high of this trend line working higher. It is off the EMA and off the resistance at this point. So this is, I mean, if you've been trading for a few days, you can find this setup. You can find this setup. Take a look. This is as clear as it gets. Honestly, I mean, was not hard. This day was not that hard to trade, and today was actually fairly, you know, easy to predict if you just follow the rules. And this setup particularly, this is almost a free setup. You know, most setups are not as perfect like this, but you can clearly see 2-legged pullback to the EMA. So you know what I'm talking about is actually happening. You know, this is a hindsight, of course, but you can see that, you can check my live videos, that I'm actually trading following these rules, and it is actually not that hard to find these setups real time. And we are just, you know, working lower. I'm quite surprised that sellers are still strong in the market like this. They probably really want to come to this low and test this, because this looks like it's only an upper part of trading range. We might go to the second lower tier of trading range, but it's not our problem. We are day traders, so this is what we care about. We can make money whether the market is going up or down. But yeah, just remember this was a very big rally at the beginning, and look how far away we are from EMA. And you can see this was the last move. Prices are starting to, you know, stagger around here, and one last push up. I actually don't remember what Al Brooks called this pattern, but I can vividly see that you know, many years ago when I started trading, I was reading his books, and he was actually mentioning this pattern, this last bullish move up. This is very easy. How can you can recognize the trend is over, the reversals, because prices are barely going higher here, and this is the last push of the bulls to go higher, and they took all the way profits right here. So yeah, so hopefully this, I'm gonna wrap it up. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. Once again, this is the higher, a little bit bigger picture, and have a safe trading. Bye guys.